We are going for the mental break a little early today, right? Normally we do it after the third piece of lecture, but here we are doing it only after two pieces. I am just in that mood. But today we are not, having a lighter mode, right? Lighter mode means we are talking about joke or something. It is a serious one, but something which really moved me remarkably, right? That it really affected me. Several years ago, you see, internationally there are lots of competitions going on. So there was a poetry competition in English language. Remember, poetry competition in English language. And surprisingly, a school kid of, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 year in the school, not senior Thanavi and so on. And it is some African country where we think that the level of education is low and so on. This child entered this poem, and its English might not be totally correct, but the emotion and the truth and the reality, and a child of say 12, 13 years is speaking that. So the poem is to the white man, right? Because he is a black and he is an African. He said, to the white man, when I born, I black. When I child, I black. When I grow, I black. When I die, I black. You white man, when you born, you pink. When you grow up, you white. When you angry, you red. When you sad, you blue. When you are jealous, you green. And you call me colored. Remarkable poem, right? All these white people around the world, all the other people who are not white, they call them colored people, lower level people, uneducated people. But he is saying that, you see, I am black. When born, all through my life, when I die, I am always black. You are pink and white and red and blue and green. You are the colored one, and you call me colored. So it is a remarkably beautiful, moving poem. And right, so today's break was a literary break, right? Literature with a lot of thought and so on. That, you see, it does not mean that you have to be a very high level intelligent person, a big person, an English speaking person and a poet. Your ideas can be very original wherever in the world you are. Just that you open your brain, okay? Okay, back here. So we were showing you that for the 316 stainless steel, we are doing creep rupture tests. So stress at different stress levels at different temperatures, and we are recording the rupture time. And if the stress is low, you see, this is not low, this is 8,000, 9,000 psi, which is a very big load. But even then, it will take about 1,000 hours at 800 and so on. And otherwise, it will take even longer, right? So that is the thing. Now, there were two scientists, engineers, Larson and Miller. They created this graph. We will just show that graph to you. So you can read through here. There is a parameter, Larson-Miller parameter. Parameter P, Larson-Miller parameter. Capital T always is temperature, small t is time, right? And C is a constant of the order of 20 or whatever. So in terms of Kelvin hours, when you are measuring the temperatures in Kelvin, then of course it is Celsius plus 273. In terms of Rankine or Fahrenheit, it is directly the Fahrenheit temperature and so on. So the equations can change. And let me show you the graph, so then the understanding will be very clear. And again, remember that making this type of a graph is a very costly, very accurate, repeatability guaranteed experiment. So it is great that for the material we choose in our factory and in our design and so on, we go to some handbook or some manual or some material website and we get the Larsen-Miller parameters directly. Otherwise, if we want our own creep tests, then it is hugely costly. So there will be an example, and in that example so let us directly see. So this, for example, right, Larsen-Miller stress rupture strength of directionally solidified DSCM247 LC alloy versus DS and equiaxed MAR M247 alloy. So it is the same material. It is the same material if you see M247, 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 but under different conditions of heat treatment and rolling, the crystals are different and so on. So it is the same alloy, but it was heat treated and cold rolled and so on differently. But if it is any one of them, then here they are saying you are doing the stress in megapascals, and as we always see, or in KSI on the other side. So whether you are working in Europe or whether you are working in the US, right, it is there. And below is Larsen-Miller parameter in the Fahrenheit scale or Larsen-Miller parameter in the Celsius scale. Celsius means Celsius plus 273, right. So the equation, the governing equation, that is why I said in the previous page that let us not worry about the equation. The equation is directly here on this page, that if we are using Fahrenheit scale, then this is the equation that you should use. If you are using Celsius, then this is the equation you are using. So there is a material, this material take this graph, this material take the upper graph, the other material take the middle graph, and the problem is that if there is any other material, then you cannot use this graph. These charts and graphs are brilliant, but they are very costly and so on. So at one time they are doing it for one alloy under different conditions. So if you have this 247 alloy, then okay, but if you have something else, some other aluminum alloy, some other steel, some other something, then you have to go to the internet or to other places and so on and try to find a Larsen-Miller parameter graph for your particular material, okay. But here the stresses are there. So if it is given that the stress is 276, and if it is given that the material is the lower one material, then you go there, hit this and read the Larsen-Miller parameter from here or from there above, whichever one. So if the stress is given and the material is given, you find the Larsen-Miller parameter from here, and once you find the Larsen-Miller parameter, this P is known, right, this P is known. So then you can tell from this equation that if my applied temperature is 32 Fahrenheit, then at what time will it rupture? Do you understand? So the stress is given, the material is given, you can find the parameter and so forth, right. So any two things are given, any two of the other things are unknown, you can solve it. So this is brilliant that you can find the time to rupture under a given temperature and under a given stress level if the Larsen-Miller parameter is given, okay. So let us see now, let us use this graph using the Larsen-Miller parameter plot of the previous figure at a stress of 207 megapascal or 30 KSI. Determine the time to stress rupture at 980 Celsius for directionally solidified alloy CM247, the uppermost graph, So you go to the previous graph, it is very simple. I mean, in doing it, the only thing is the slight bit of inaccuracy when you use the graph. In real life, if I have to use it, what will I do? Either my graph will be on a computer package where if I draw lines, say in AutoCAD or any other package, then I get very accurate readings, right. So either I have the graph in a drawing package where I draw a vertical line and a horizontal line and get very, very accurate values, or what I do sometimes practically, that I know that in my company I am using this one or two materials. So I get the Larsen-Miller parameter graphs for those two materials, and I enlarge them and print them on A0 size, no, print them on A3 size, right? And then if I draw a line, then it is much more accurate because the graph is now much larger. So whatever you want to do, the only thing is the slight inaccuracy. Otherwise, in terms of difficulty, there is nothing, right? So this is the graph, and they are saying uppermost, right? So this uppermost. So if a stress is given, then at that stress level go and cut the uppermost graph and read the Larsen-Miller parameter either in Fahrenheit or in Celsius, whatever you want, right? So 207 megapascal, 207 megapascal. So just go to the Larsen-Miller parameter for the uppermost, and we will see that the value is roughly 27.8 into 10 raised to 3 Kelvin hours, right? Which means that we are using the upper equation, the upper side, not the lower side, because we are adding the 273. So the equation is Larsen-Miller parameter is the temperature in Kelvin into 20 plus log TR, right? So, right, 980 plus 273, right? 980 plus 273 is the temperature. So put 1253 here. The Larsen-Miller parameter, whatever value you found from there. So this is the Larsen parameter value. This is the temperature, and inside it is written 20 plus log TR. This is the normal log, not ln, not log to the base e, normal log. So now take log of both sides or whatever you want. So first remove the numbers, separate out log TR. So log TR is equal to 22.19 minus this, it becomes 2.19. Then take inverse log on both sides, this becomes TR, that becomes 155 hours. Now this is what the book has calculated. I always find that by 2 or 3 decimal places, this, that, a little bit of more accuracy is there. So this answer may be wrong by half a number or something. So you write what your answer is. And usually, as I tell you, you should write to about 3 decimal places. Don't round off to 155 hours. Maybe it is 155.123 hours. Maybe it is 154.789 hours. So write that, it is a little more accurate. So just that habit that engineers and science people should generally use 3 decimal places. So if you have to round off, you round off to the 3rd decimal place. But in theory, there is nothing to it, right? In difficulty level, there is nothing at all. We are just reading the graph. This is now a much bigger graph. This is Larsen-Miller diagram at a strain of 0.2% for various alloys. So stress in kilo psi is there, and Larsen-Miller parameter in the Fahrenheit is there, and these different ones, titanium 6, aluminum 4, vanadium, titanium, aluminum, strontium, zirconium, molybdenum. So different types of alloys are there, different types of alloys. So this is a much bigger diagram. Of course, its accuracy will be a little low unless you use a mathematical line and a mathematical line to get the exact value. Therefore, you will enlarge this graph, right? Enlarge this graph. So let us see the example. Calculate the time to cause 0.2% creep strain in gamma titanium aluminide at a stress level of 40 ksi and 1200. So you see, this is critical, that the graph is only for 0.2% creep strain. So therefore, if there was any other value, this would be different. So just solve it yourself. Just go to the next page, solve it. I am not going to waste time. You just do it, you get the answer. So this is the graph. This is the way you solve it. Okay, this is the way you solve it.